Hi everybody, how are you today? We're gonna do a video. Like always, I don't know what the topic is. That's what the fun part of the video. And let's see what we have to say and what we're gonna talk about. Michelle, are you gonna come on out or?
Yes, here. What we're going to talk about is why I gotta go get my phone in the first place.
So, how is everybody out there today? There's something that I want to talk about. It's mental illness. Um, it's very hard to struggle when you have mental illness. I have mental illness. I suffer for depression. I get really. It's not. I also have high anxiety. I've been having some anxiety attacks lately, and I don't like them. I think it's my medication that it's not doing its job anymore.
So with the soda.
And I just want to get it fixed because I find myself snapping at people. I don't like to do that. Getting very upset with people. And I know quite a few people that right now are not doing very well because of mental illness. Mental illness is very, very, very bad. And I wish we didn't have. I wish people didn't have to have mental illness. I know Michelle suffers from mental illness when the weather changes. We all know Michelle. This is her happy time of year. She's gonna start getting more peppier, and I get depressed at this time of year. And the summer and spring is my time of the year. I'm peppy and have more spunk. And I just wish there was something out there that we could
Well, that's a good
change of weather. I mean, change of weather. You get sick, you get depressed, you get all kinds of different things from change of weather. So, if anybody out there I'm also bipolar. My mood changes every once in a while. I think this past week I've been a little bipolar. I know, I don't think. And I can tell in my mood. I tend to shut people out when I'm bipolar. When I'm in one of my little episodes, and I try not to do that. So, but that's like I said, mental illness is a very, very bad thing to have. And a lot of people don't understand mental illness, and a lot of people do. And I want to understand it more. Why do I have it? Why did God chose me? That's what I want to know. But I'll probably never find the answers. But why did He chose me? And why did He chose Michelle? And I don't know about Lumi, but why did He choose Lumi, Michelle, and I? Why did He chose you? Whoever watches these, if you do
Let me
have
ask you a question right now, because I'm sure the audience probably wonders what is it like that don't have mental illness. Is what is it like to have a mental illness?
Well, I have, like I said, I have very bad high anxiety. Sometimes I have the most patience in the world. And as you can see, you've seen it, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
I have none.
Yeah.
I have that. Today I have absolutely no patience in the world. My stress level today is really, really high. I had a very bad day, and I know you people out there probably don't understand. If you are manic and you are depressed and you do have mental illness, you'll understand. But the people that won't understand. And I struggle with it. So,
is mental illness caused by environmental factors or social factors, or is it just possibly just family heredity, family history?
Well, I think it was in my family. I'm not sure. Actually, I do know it was in my family. I don't want to pinpoint, but and I am the only one right now that has mental illness. I didn't do very good in school. They just pushed me through school. Back then, they really didn't have the skills that they have now to teach kids school. But now the school systems are different because they push it. There's a lot more drugs out there. There's a lot more violence out there. And that's where, for instance, I know everybody don't like to hear this, but Sandy Brook, that was a man that was mentally sick. And nobody actually took the time out with him to say, okay, you need help. You need to get the help that you need.
Evidence indicates that it may have been because of the medications his mother put him on that may have...
Right. So there you go. He was on the wrong medication. That's what that's what guarantees everybody that has mental illness. And then when they flip out, oh, you go to jail. Instead of putting someone in jail, they ought to put someone in a place where they're going to get help, not jail. For someone that has mental illness, jail is not a place.
No, it's not. In fact, as Michele and I discovered, there was in Rikers Island, New York, there's a huge number of people that are actually have mental illness that have been that are not getting the mental health treatment they need. Yeah, it's a problem. And the city of New York is not capable of dealing with the mental illness in Rikers
Neither
Island.
is the city of Connecticut.
That's a state.
Well, neither is the state of Connecticut.
I'm sure that the women...
especially Charlotte Hungerford Hospital, you go up there and they treat you because you have mental illness. They'll throw you in the in the ER in the psych part. They'll throw you in there, talk to you. Okay, you're okay. You can go home. Meanwhile, you're manic and you're depressed and you want to kill yourself on all this other crap, and they just throw you and they let you go. Or they put you in IOP. What the fuck is IOP?
Good question. What is it?
Yeah, I can tell you what it is. You go in there with a bunch of people you don't even know, and you sit there and talk about your depression and all this other stuff. I did it for one day, and I said, I'm out of here. It made me more depressed sitting in that room talking to other people and hearing this one. Oh, I'm this and I'm that. I felt more depressed that one day than I did the whole time I've been depressed.
Well, it sounds like it was more of a variation of Alcoholics Anonymous.
No, it's not Alcoholics Anonymous.
I didn't say it was. It sounds like...
Yeah, exactly. It's like that. It's something like that. But I felt more depressed in that room than I felt anywhere else. And then I got in trouble because I didn't go to the class. And then I got in trouble because I didn't participate in the program.
You know what's even worse is...
And I got penalized because I didn't get my medication.
Exactly what I was going to say. Which means that if the medications were working, then by taking off the medicine...
My medication's not working.
And if it's not working, well, you don't gain nothing. But if it was working and they took you off it, then you're not going to be very good, all right?
And it's like, I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't.
Right. Well, Michele kind of feels the same way a lot of times, too, because... You know, like, she has no family. So, every time Michele runs into a hardship, the only person she can talk to is you and me. And oh yeah, her case manager, which you don't really think understands Michelle's situation that well. I think you're kind of right. I think she doesn't quite get it. She's younger than Michele. She's obviously married. She's got a husband. She's got a nice house.
Exactly what you just said.
She's never been.
She's never been in these caseworkers that are.
I wouldn't say none of them, but I'm saying is that
right. There's caseworkers.
This young lady didn't have those personal experiences.
There's caseworkers out there that don't have a husband, that don't have children, that don't have. They have family, but they don't know what it is to have a mental illness. And when you're all stressed out and you're all like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?"
We're in the system. Those are the ones that you want to work with, because
right, the ones that have children. And right now, I feel very comfortable with my therapist that I have right now. I like her, but right now because I just got rid of another a group that I was in. I didn't like that group. I didn't like the people up there. I didn't like them at all. So I left and went back to the old place where I am, and I feel comfortable there right now. But I don't like taking medication, but I know I need it.
You need it for your diabetes too.
And yes, I'm also a diabetic. I take pills for that, and I also take insulin. I showed you all that stuff before, and they up my insulin because I drink soda. I'm not supposed to drink soda, but I could be doing worse things. I could be out there doing drugs.
You could be drinking beer and alcohol.
I could be an alcoholic. I could drink beer. I like beer. But I know I can't because it makes me want to do stupid things. And I start thinking right. And I'll start thinking stupid, getting stupid ideas in my head. Okay, I got this. But without the medication, I'm not happy without it. So, and yeah, I've got to know Michelle, and I know Michelle is manic because she worries about bills, and that's all you hear: bills, 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 bills.
I didn't want to bring bills up this time.
Okay, but Michelle has gotten better. Michelle is getting better on it. We're going to work on that because she drives me up to here with bills. I mean, yeah, I have bills, but I don't let them make me sick.
Let me ask you a question. If you were in my shoes,
Michelle, to be honest with you, I am in your shoes. Yeah, I have my daughter. I have my daughter, and she does get money from the state, but she doesn't get that much money from the state.
You also got a sister.
My sister don't help me. My sister helps my daughter.
Right, but still, you do got a family. That's one thing I don't have.
You have me.
And you got me.
And you have Lumi. And you have Fame. And Rusty. That's your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, there's other people out there that don't have family. There's people at Primetime House where I go every day that don't have family. But you make what you have.
The reason I haven't been going to Primetime House for the most part, in case people wonder what this is I work with the people at the soup kitchen. I tend to, lately some of the people at my table have been missing. We don't know where they are, but usually I hang out with a few people at the soup kitchen, and they're going through the same situation I am. I go to Primetime House, and I feel like a left foot. I don't really know if I belong anymore.
And so you belong. And see, that's Michelle. That's part of Michelle's illness. Okay? Because I picked up on that. Okay? I'm not gonna sit here and say, okay, Michelle has. I'm gonna use it for example. I'm gonna say Michelle don't have schizophrenia, but one of Michelle's fears is people not liking her.
That's true.
People not liking her. All right? I love Michelle. I think Michelle is a wonderful, wonderful person. She would give the shirt off of somebody's back, off of her back to give to somebody else.
I think part of Michelle is also her hearing loss in her eyesight.
Exactly. And Lumi, I don't know Lumi very well as much as I know Michelle, but Lumi helps Michelle cope with some things. Yes, sometimes Lumi can tell Michelle not to do this and not to do that, but if Lumi's different from Michelle.
You know what we originally were going to do last time? We didn't do it yet. Lumi, yeah, you feel like being on the grill? Explain the grill. Well, last time Dory was here, I said why don't I let her ask you some questions?
Well,
okay.
I just wanted, okay, I will in a minute, but I just wanted to get that off my chest because I want to be, there's 3 goals I already accomplished 1 goal, and I'm very proud of myself for doing that. It's Primetime House is a place for people that have mental illness, and they go there and they get to not basically do whatever they want, but they can go there, they can have lunch, they can drive, they're treated like people, not like, okay, you have a mental illness, you can't go across the street, or you can't drive. We're treated like people. And where was I going with this? We're treated like human beings, and we're treated like we don't feel like we're outsiders. Right? And Michelle feels that way. Because you want to know why Michelle feels that way? Because Michelle don't go every day. If she went twice a week, she'd probably feel better about it. But Michelle goes this week, okay, I'll skip 3 months. And then she'll go back. Michelle, you don't go because you don't feel welcome.
Exactly.
Well, go. And let people get to know Michelle, not the person that sits there and just, the person that's legally blind and sits there and don't do shit.
Well, I've never been a social person in the first place. I always thought I stayed to myself.
Well, Michelle, you are a social person. You do these videos every single day.
Yes.
So you're not social?
I'm social, but...
You just said you weren't a social person.
I mean, in some ways, I'm not as social as... Well, I don't know how to explain it.
Lumi, how do you explain Michelle?
Michelle likes to present something, and then she kind of just disappears for the rest of the day and does her time in research. Almost as almost like being an instructor at a university or something.
All right, Lumi, what have you done in this world? What have you accomplished in this world?
What have I accomplished?
Yes.
Well, for one thing, I share a body with a person that's pretty dynamic. We tend to work together. We get a lot of things done.
All right. What would you do if you didn't have Michelle?
Well, that has always been a consideration because if we share the same physical flesh, what happens if Michelle had a stroke and Michelle's part of the personality died out? Her part of the soul left. I don't know.
Michelle, what happens if if Lumi's body died out? How would you feel?
Not much better, that's for sure, because it's almost like we're married to each other in some ways. And, you know, you're used to having the other person there in the morning, you know? And to wake up and then find out that your other part of your life is gone, and we see in elderly people when the husband dies or the wife dies, it's the same thing. It's a separation. Yeah.
Well, I had a boyfriend I've had 2 husbands and a couple boyfriends, and the last real relationship I had was very, very abusive. He was an alcoholic. When he drank, he was the meanest son of a bitch you can ever meet. Okay? When he wasn't drinking, he would give the shirt off his back like this person right here.
That's probably why I don't drink.
He also had bipolar. He had schizophrenia, alcohol problem, drugs problem, and every time that he got into trouble was because he was drinking and he was off his meds. Do you understand what I'm saying? And he also was in a very he struggled his whole life. His parents were very abusive to him. Again, abuse, alcohol, medication. Do you see the pattern? Medication, alcohol.
Right, but so abuse. In that case,
so when you have abuse your whole life, when you get close to somebody and you know that person loves you and cares about you, sometimes that other person, like his situation, he can't, he could never can show his emotions. And when he wasn't drinking, he was the most caring, wonderful person that you can ever imagine. Mm-hmm. And when he was drinking, he didn't like me. Did you know that?
Yeah.
When Richard his name was Richard. When Richard was drinking, he didn't like me. That man hated my guts.
Mm-hmm.
But when he wasn't drinking, he adored me. I
I
finally got out of that place where I didn't want to do it no more. And he was living with me. He was sober. And because he wasn't on his medication and his bipolar medication, his schizophrenic medication, because he just got out of rehab. I'll be honest with you, he just got out of rehab, and they wouldn't help him. Nobody would help him because of the fact that he was been helped so many times. So finally they were going to help him, but he flipped out in my house, and I told him to get out. And a couple weeks later, he was found dead in an alley. I blamed myself for a while, but then I decided that I can't blame myself anymore because he was violent in my house, and I had a daughter that I had to look after.
Well, I think what's interesting, just listening to your story, and knowing Michelle's background as I do, that it's the same situation since her mother was extremely abusive to Michelle. Oh my God. The things that she did to Michelle, as I look back through her file, is extremely weird, but outrageous. Like, she believed in conditional love. Michelle would do something wrong, her mother would shun her and walk away from her, not talk to her, talk nasty to Michelle. When Michelle only got praise and glory. Well, okay, that sounds kind of aggrandizing, sorry. Let me try it this way. When Michelle does the right thing, her mom puts on the happy treatment, but if Michelle does the wrong thing, even if it's saying something wrong, Michelle's mother was very abusive. And especially with Michelle's legal blindness, it was like, you're nothing but a legally blind bitch. You're useless.
See, I think that's wrong. Right? I
hope you die of AIDS. No, that's what my mom did say.
But
unfortunately,
but that's wrong.
Of course, it's wrong.
It's wrong. I mean, yeah. I'll admit, before I started hanging out with Michelle and Lumi, how can I word this? I didn't understand Michelle's condition.
I don't think a lot of people do.
Okay? And now that I've been hanging around with Michelle, and I understand the condition that Michelle is in. Yeah, she has a part of her body, but Michelle says no. But I truly believe this because sometimes I'll talk to myself. Michelle has nobody to talk to. So Michelle talks to Lumi.
Yeah, well, we share the same flesh.
Yeah.
No reason not to.
So.
It's true. Especially, we do like shit.
All right, Lumi, I have a question to ask you.
Go ahead.
How do you like Dory?
Do I like Dory? Yeah, I like you. I don't see why I wouldn't like you.
All right, but sometimes do you get mad because Michelle and I are friends?
No, I'm not jealous of you guys being friends. In fact, me and Michelle had talked about this when you were originally living over there in 10. And one of the things I said to Michelle is, you two would be good together because you guys, me and Michelle, are in the same flesh. So, there are things that we can't do together that Michelle and me and you can do together.
A lot of people's stress in this world is mental illness.
Oh, yeah. And Michelle suffered plenty of it. Because Michelle never really got over her mother's threat for her to go drop dead with AIDS. Consider Michelle's not even an IV drug user.
See, when I had a good childhood. I can say that I really did. Both my parents were really good parents. Yeah, they drank. My parents drank. But we never got. I mean, I can count on my 10 fingers how many times I got hit in my life. Does that count? 10 times? I mean, I swear. My parents really never beat me and my sister, and they were really good parents. Yeah, like I said, they had an alcohol problem, but other than that, they were pretty good, I guess. My parents were pretty good. I love my mom and dad, and I miss my mother and father. Matter of fact, not too long ago was my dad's 70. What he would have been 72, 41. Yeah, 72. And my mom is 72. She would have been 72, and she'll be 73 in January. So I remember, and I remember the day that they passed away. I remember the day that I remember a lot. That I wish now that I didn't take advantage of them, like I did when I was a kid. Let's change the subject. So, Michelle, what did you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about anything?
Well, since we're talking about backgrounds, I was just, like Lumi brought up about my mom. And my father was an alcoholic, a recovered alcoholic. And I know him for a fact that my mother used to, ride him to horror too. Was screaming at him all the time, day in, day out. She was the prima donna of the house. And so I wasn't the only one to get yelled at. My dad got plenty of screaming. And my father just really couldn't take it. That's why he would go down to the bar and get smashed. And then when he would be drunk, he would be enough patience to finally come home and pound my mom a little bit, which I thought was a little bit extreme because I don't think that was the answer. So when I saw this at 7 years old, I made a vow to Almighty Mother and Father God. I said, "Mom, please, for the love of my soul, do not make me an alcoholic. Do not make me drink like this. I do not want to be like this. I want to have full control of my faculties." And I can say with 100% satisfaction that I have completed my obligation, and I'm still dry. I don't drink since I made that vow at 7 years old. And I'm not saying I haven't been tempted to drink, as I am a predisposed.
You have never ever had a
not to excess where I basically blitz. No, I mean maybe occasional beer or something, but never really to that extreme.
Have you ever smoked weed or got high?
No.
But
once it becomes illegal in Massachusetts again, we'll just go to Massachusetts for the day and smoke weed. That's an idea. Actually, weed, Michelle's been around plenty of THC fumes. Yes, I have. It makes Michelle's eyes work a lot.
How about you, Lumi?
Excuse me?
How about you?
I don't smoke weed, but we've been in plenty of secondhand smoke, and I noticed that when Michelle is around that smoke, her eyes do better, and she seems to be a little more mellow.
Maybe you should smoke weed and your eyes will get better.
Well, it doesn't make your eyes. It doesn't make your eyes better in the sense. What it does do is it helps to control the lateral nystagmus.
I was just being funny,
with
Michelle.
the eye strain. I know. I'm just to explain this to the audience who may not have known this. Because of my nystagmus, I get, I'm kind of over exaggerating it.
Well, they have miracle marijuana for mental illness.
Like a very fast vibration. And what it does is it means that my eyes have to work really hard because they're always constantly refocusing. When I get around THC smoke, what happens is my eyes kind of go like almost like a Pepto-Bismol commercial.
Pepto-Bismol.
Relief, Coach says. That's a good point. So Michelle and I were definitely looking forward to that. Maybe one day the state of Connecticut will also decide to go for recreational marijuana. And then Michelle could get a local place like John's Import or something, or John's Package Store or whatever. Because Michelle doesn't like to drink. No. Or maybe, depending on how Connecticut does it, maybe you might be able to pick up a pack over there at Cumberland Farms.
Now she's dreaming.
Oh, if it's legalized, I don't think they really could stop it as long as they meet the requirements for alcohol licensing and tobacco licensing. Well, I think Connecticut will eventually legalize it for recreational use. I mean, there were on a state ballot for Massachusetts and Maine, and I think New Hampshire as well to legalize marijuana for recreational use. That's a big deal because finally, we're getting rid of this stupid war on drugs malarkey that has been causing so many people to go to jail for nonviolent crimes at least since the 60s, really 50s. Was it? Yeah, it was illegalized in 1947 under the what is it called, Controlled Substances Act. Yeah, okay, yeah. Which was a bill pushed by, believe it or not, by the big pharma who wanted people to buy their products for pain relief and all that stuff. So it was really was immediately legalized. You could even originally buy opium legally over the counter in the 20s. It's quite true. I think we were more free in the 20s, except for prior to Elliot Ness and the drug running or the alcohol running and all that. And before Prohibition, we were more free as a country to be, we were still a republic. This is, I think, is one of the reasons why we need to seriously put Hillary Clinton on ice politically. By the way, just to let the people know that the Democratic National Committee has agreed that the backup, the bench warmer for now, is going to be Bernie Sanders is going to be the alternative pinch hitter if, for some reason, Hillary Clinton is incapable of finishing her campaign.
Now, I have a question about that. I know here we go bringing up politics, and that's not one of my subjects. But say, for instance, if something happens to Hillary, she has to resign. Now, I know we are voting in November. Right. Now, would they have to postpone it to let Sanders get more talking in?
And no, they would just go ahead. Here's the bean issue. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the physical ballots. The problem is that they've already printed in many states the ballots already. They really, for DNC to have Sanders take over, he should have been put in before September 8th. But now the states already issued out their mail-in ballots and absentee ballots. So what that means is that they have to figure out what they're going to do, especially at the polls. For all the poll printouts that say Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. Because, number one, not only does Bernie Sanders not have a running mate, which he doesn't. No. Okay. And so who would he choose as running mate? Now, that's clearly a Sanders issue. He's going to have to find a running mate pretty quick. Actually, running mate is actually a pretty new thing, isn't it? Really, it's kind of was created since after President Kennedy. Actually, it was created kind of prior to that. Actually, prior after Abraham Lincoln's murder. That's when they realized they need to have a VP.
Do you know, speaking of Abraham Lincoln, do you know he had mental illness?
Yes.
He had manic depression.
He also suffered from stuttering.
And he also had depression, stuttering, and he also had something else.
He has Asperger's, I believe, too.
But there was something else he had.
The difference would be...
But he suffered from mental illness, and he was a president.
And he did a good job.
He did a good job. Well, I don't know. I was young.
Trying to bring people back together after the Civil War. That's one of the reasons why we look back at what he's done to reunite the North and the South. I'm not saying it was perfect, but he really believed in freeing the slaves. That's something that the Democrats didn't want to do. The Democratic slave owners did not want to free their slaves at all. They were so anti-free slave, it was crazy.
See, mental illness can affect anyone.
It affects anybody. But here's the most important thing. Just because you have a mental illness doesn't mean that you can't think. And you
Exactly.
can't. I study, and my eyes can attest to that because they hurt like hell. I study notes every day because of physical infirmities and prevent getting text neck. I lay on my bed, flat on my back, and read and watch news article after news article on my phone.
I had text neck. It ain't comfortable, remember?
Yeah.
I had it bad. I couldn't even move my right arm. That's how bad it was.
Well, that's the reason why you need to. If you're laying on your back, you got your pillow underneath your spine, on your neck area. It means more of the weight is being supported by the pillow and not so much by the upper spinal column. Which is when you look at the typical automotive car dummy, the way that those steel rings in the neck are. Now imagine that's your spine. And he gets into a head-on collision in the car. His whole neck snaps forward like that, and it's going to cause, in the human neck, it's going to cause damage with the spinal cord. It's going to cause problems with the vertebrae, the discs. Well, even though it's not quite as fast and tragic, you've got a typical person's head is about as heavy as a bowling ball. So when you're putting your neck like this, you're slowly doing the same kind of neurological and physiological damage to your neck. So like what I told Dory is you got to take a break. If you don't want to look at your phone because the phone is, just don't do this, but be laying flat on your back and look up at it. At least that will protect your spine. It doesn't help your eyeballs though, but it protects your spine.
All right, so I don't know. You want anything else to talk about?
Well, you originally wanted to ask me questions, and then you never did.
I asked you questions.
She asked you one. She asked me two things. Okay. Let's talk briefly about something that me and Michelle have been talking to Dory about off camera. Jerry, was it? I think it was Jerry, or is it? Yeah, Mr. LaRoche. Jeremy LaRoche has been saying that he sees Dory as this fan. He's a fan of Dory.
Jeffrey
LaRoche. Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure. I wasn't here. I keep forgetting it. All right, go on. What I want to know is what do you feel about having a so-called fan and you don't even know, given what you've read what Michelle showed you, what he's been saying, and how he sees you as the main moderator of the channel, and Michelle isn't considered the moderator of the channel.
Okay, how I feel about that is I'm very honored that you feel that way, but I've been doing this with Michelle as a guest, and recently, yes, Michelle has made it my video, had shown me how to do all this, and I'm very honored that you care. I'm very honored that you have comments about me. But Michelle started this for me. So what I'm trying to say is give her some praises too, because Michelle deserves them too. If it wasn't for Michelle, I wouldn't be sitting here with her. So I'm very, very honored, and keep commenting me. I love comments. I love the smile. Your comments made me feel really good inside. But give Michelle comments too, because if it wasn't for, like I said, if it wasn't for Michelle, I wouldn't be sitting here with you talking about. I would never thought I'd be doing this, and I enjoy doing this. I think it's really fun, and but like I said, thank you. And I like to, talk to you more. Maybe we can talk online or something. Maybe, I'm not saying I'm going to, but just like, thank you. I'm very, 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 very honored.
And don't forget to subscribe to Dory's channel too.
Yep.
She needs subscribers, and Mr. LaRoche, try to send her a comment on her YouTube.
Why don't you put this on, instead of putting this on yours, why don't you put it on mine?
Yeah, we can put this on your channel.
Yeah.
But then we'd also have to send a copy of the link to this so they can find me on my channel. But I think we can do that. It's no big deal. Just make sure we have to leave off the contact information and the end, the footers. That's because that's, like I said, I'll be fast that way. It will be, yeah. Okay, because I guess if she doesn't have a splash screen or title, see Michelle does. But
all right, so why don't we wrap this up? I hope everybody has a good evening. I'm sorry, I just got a little upset with mental illness because I suffer from it, and Michelle does too. And so I just want to wish everybody God bless and have a good night. And comment. It's very, very important. Good night. Bye.
bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.